So what we're really excited by is the use of sensors at very large scale, so very large scale distributed networks for enterprises, for cities, and what we're really just focused on is bringing a new capability to society. So the capability for distributed sensor networks to give us a picture of how our buildings and our cities are living and breathing, and actually see that in real time and understand that these are really dynamic systems. They're complex systems, but they've been invisible to us. And so this capability to really map the invisible world around us starts to open up our eyes to what's actually happening in the environment and how the types of energy choices that we're making are putting pollutants into the environment and connecting to health outcomes. So we can suddenly start to connect energy to health, and it changes the conversation in some very powerful ways.
So what's different about the way that you are going about this today, measuring air quality, indoor and outdoors, than what the EPA has done for years?
Sure. So to date, most environmental measurement, environmental quality measurement at scale has been done by governments. It's typically driven by regulation, and the equipment that's used is very expensive and difficult to deploy. So in the United States, the EPA has done a fantastic job of measuring ambient measurements, background levels of air quality, but we don't understand what's happening at the human scale, at the street by street, block by block scale, and it turns out that pollution and emissions actually vary at that level. And once we understand that, we can start to understand sources of emission and sites of exposure. So what communities are being impacted? Why are we seeing higher asthma rates in a particular pocket in a city? And really start to drive and understand the relationships at a much more granular level, such that we can actually take action.
Explain, by the way, how you're doing this with Google.
So we have a number of partners. At Aclima, we really believe in cooperative advantage instead of competitive advantage. And so we partner with companies and organizations to make our technology better, but also to deploy it. And so we're partnered with Google. One of the projects that we announced last year is an effort to test our sensor platform on their Street View vehicles so that we can take city scale and community scale snapshots of air pollution and emissions. And so suddenly we can have a city scale image of what's really happening on the ground and at a street by street level. We also have a number of major scientific partnerships with the EPA and others to ensure that the data that we're delivering is high quality data, because if people are going to be making decisions off of this information, it needs to be grounded in science.